real unfamiliar playoff opponent this week in Bemidji. Looking back to last year's series that you had with them, what kind of stood out about that series? What do you remember about that? Maybe not necessarily the on ice, but kind of the feelings and emotions of that series.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of kids that were in their first playoffs, and I think sometimes you go into it thinking it's like the regular season, and then all of a sudden it ends pretty quickly. So you have to be ready in the playoffs. I think this group this year is much more prepared for it, and I'm looking forward to a great series.
How important is that Friday game? It seems like with UMD and Bemidji in the playoffs, and even going back to St. Cloud, winning that Friday game really kind of sets the tone, right?
It would help, sure, but it is a best-of-3 series, so I'm not going to put all the pressure on that first game. It's just like in any game, you know, how important is the first goal? Well, yeah, it's nice when you can get that first goal and you play a little more free, but ultimately we want to win 2 games, and hopefully they're the first 2 games, but as long as it's any of the 2 games, we'll be happy.
Does winning or losing, though, change the mentality, change things at all going into how you approach a Saturday and maybe how the players feel?
I'm sure.
Into Saturday?
Yeah, you'd feel like your back's up against the wall a little bit. That happened last year, and we wound up winning the Saturday game. So depending on your team, maybe you play better when you are under more pressure. It just depends. But again, winning 2 games is our goal.
Bemidji, you won 3 of 4, but how similar does this team feel to the team you saw in the playoffs last year? And what's going to be the key to continuing some of the success you had in the regular season?
Yeah, we haven't really talked about last year because that's a different team and a different year. So we're talking about this year. Certainly like our record against them, but they're playing much better the second half, and I think so are we. So it's going to be 2 different teams than you even saw in early January, and that's what makes the playoffs fun. You're usually getting the best out of anybody, including yourself. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be great hockey. They're a well-coached team. They work hard. They don't let you off the hook. They're a tough opponent, and we know that. So that's what makes it fun.
After last weekend in Mankato, Taylor Anderson with some pretty goals there. How is the team feeling going into the postseason, even though the 2 ties?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of a funny feeling after those games when you tie, but then you have these awesome shootout wins. It makes the shootout fun for sure, and for Taylor in particular to take advantage of the opportunity that she was given and really make a statement there was awesome. Maggie Flaherty had a standout week and was rewarded with the award from the league. So we had a lot of high points. We scored 8 goals over the course of the weekend against one of the best goalies in the country. So I think, you know, you can look at it a couple ways, but we're going to pull out the positives and focus on those things.
Maura, your team's had a funny tendency, as we've talked about several times, to play up to the Minnesotas and Wisconsins and to kind of have little lapses against the lesser teams. Not that they're bad, the lesser teams, because they're all much better.
Yep.
But is that a problem in your mind that you're looking at this weekend? You're going in to make sure you take Bemidji seriously, you know?
Yeah, I don't think we take Bemidji lightly at all. Even though we don't talk about the past, I know a lot of these players remember past series with them, whether it's regular season or postseason. So we'll be ready to go. And, you know, I think it's more of a stylistic thing than it is who's ranked where. We like to skate. We like to move. I think our speed is really good. Coming out of the D zone all the way up. We like to make plays and be creative. And that's what we're going to be looking to do this weekend.
There's a lot of different kinds of discipline. One of those is that discipline of making sure you're taking care of your end first. When you get a team like this that kind of feeds off their transition and feeds off your mistakes, how important does that discipline become?
It's huge. I mean, the details at this point in the season are incredibly important. I think a lot of small details make big differences in the playoffs. So we want to be sharp and make sure that our strategy is good and that everybody on the team knows exactly what's expected of them in all situations.
Was Mankato tougher than you anticipated? Did they play better overall?
I anticipated them to be good. I think, you look at our league, and yes, they were in last place going into that series, but the week before they pushed the Gophers to overtime, and the Gophers are ranked number 1 in the country. So I think it's the WCHA being an incredibly strong league. You can't get hung up on the standings because any team can beat anybody in this league. So I think they were who we thought they were. They kept coming back. They're resilient like that, and they pushed us to be our best. And getting those shootout wins were big points for us to getting home ice this weekend.
Nice is it that you have home ice again with all the success you've had here this season?
Yeah, that was a big push for us. Our players want to be here. They want to be in their own beds. They want to play at Amsoil in front of our home crowd. So it was a big thing for us.
What has you feeling most confident as you head into the series?
I love our team. I think, like I said, scoring 8 goals last weekend, plus the shootout winners, we can put the puck in the net. We have a lot of fun out there. I think the passion is high for hockey, and with a young team like we have, I think every weekend we're learning and getting better and better. And so the more hockey we can play, the better we're going to get.
You've been saying you've been learning things all throughout the week, and like over the past few weeks especially. What would you say would be the biggest takeaway, the biggest thing you guys had just from last series to now?
With Bemidji?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the bounce back factor, right? The last series, we lost that Friday game and bounced back the next day, put up 5 goals, and took a pretty decided win over them. So I think, learning that teams can come back against you and that you can come back against teams is really important in the belief factor. So we believe we can do it, and that's been incredibly valuable to our team.
That turned out to be a very big win too, right?
That was very big.
Yeah,
Yep.
on the bus.
That's right. Exactly.